different event, we want 95% of what goes out to come back.
All the other recycling programs that are coming about, I think this is a good alternative for customers.
For a family of 4 people, we're down to half of a white kitchen garbage bag a week.
Welcome to the Sustainable Region. I'm Vanessa Timmer.
And I'm Dagmar Timmer. And today we're going to talk about the 3 R's of trash.
You know, reduce, reuse, recycling. These 3 R's are at the crux of the system Metro Vancouver is putting in place to divert 70% of our waste from the landfill by 2015.
There are good reasons to shrink the amount of garbage we produce. Climate change, pollution, and the increasing scarcity of energy and natural resources.
And millions are spent in processing this trash. But not all waste is created equal. Of the trash entering our landfill, 19% of it is paper, 12% is plastic, and 21% is food waste.
Coming up, we go to a Whitecaps soccer game where an innovative collaboration is changing the game. The waste game, that is.
3, 2, 1, go!
It's the kickoff to a pilot project by Metro Vancouver, the Vancouver Whitecaps, and the City of Burnaby. This event is a recycling relay to publicize a new initiative. But it's not all fun and games. There's a serious goal here. To reduce the amount of waste going to the landfill after Whitecaps games at Swangard Stadium.
We have our players, our management, our front office, all involved in recycling and stressing the importance of it.
Well, what our goal is for the stadiums is each different event, we want 95% of what goes out to come back. That's our goal.
Last spring, at the beginning of the pilot project, only 10% of the waste collected here entered the recycling stream.
That's not very good. And the fact that, again, we're only at 10% diversion right now suggests that there's a lot of garbage that could be going elsewhere. It could be recycled, that's going to the dump.
The zero waste strategy is pretty simple. First, all the vendors must serve their food and beverages in recyclable containers. And condiments that used to be served in little packages are now available in bulk. Just that one small measure alone reduces the amount of game day waste by 10%. Education is key to making this work. Throughout the stadium, there are signs encouraging visitors to recycle. The zero waste stations are all clearly marked as to what goes where. And there are lots of volunteers on hand to help people figure it out.
The recycling containers are right at the exit as they come out of the stands, so it's easy and convenient for them instead of hidden off in some corner somewhere.
We have people that are beside the bins and they'll be assisting them when they step up. And the people will be very courteous and helpful, as opposed to making people feel embarrassed that they don't know where the waste should be going.
Something new to most people is the idea of recycling organic waste, like leftover food, for instance.
If someone's child doesn't finish all of their hamburger, we don't want them to just throw it in the bush and let the squirrels eat it. Rather, what we want them to do is we have a bin for organics, so that organics will be going to the composting facility, and that will be turned into good organic compost and feed someone's garden.
Reducing waste is an idea that everyone seems to buy into. But is it working? Evergreen Sports Programming runs the pilot project, and their workers go through the garbage by hand to see what's being recycled and what isn't.
At the first game this year when we started, after we put the bins in, the diversion rate was about 40%, which was up from the 10% diversion we'd identified in the baseline waste audit. So drastic improvement right off the top.
And it hasn't taken long to grow that number.
We set the goal at 95%, which is extraordinarily high. Our philosophy here is go big or go home. You know, we were at the 70% threshold for about 3 games, but it looks like we'll be in the 75 to 80% range, which is phenomenal.
That represents a huge diversion from the landfill, more than 300 kilos from each of the Whitecaps' home games, adding up to more than 8,000 kilos over a 5-month season. Now think of multiplying that number by all the sports events at arenas and other places in each of our 22 municipalities. That is what Metro Vancouver would like to facilitate.
If others can jump on board in their own ways, then that's going to make for a better environment, and that's what we're all striving for.
Welcome back to the Sustainable Region. Remember that pie chart earlier outlining different components of our trash? You may have noticed that wood waste is a big piece of pie, at 15% of all solid waste.
One way to shrink that number is to deal with the waste upfront. Metro Vancouver may assist municipalities to develop and implement policies that require recycling for demolition and building permits.
Another way to chip away at the wood waste is to follow the guidelines we mentioned earlier, to make it easy to recycle and reuse. In our next story, we show how good business and waste diversion can go hand in hand.
Metro Vancouver Zero Waste Challenge has identified wood as one of the major components in our waste stream.
Customers are definitely paying attention to the environment. They know the impact that the waste has on the environment.
This is the wood waste pilot project behind me. It's basically a depot, a convenient location where residents, small contractors can return their wood, their clean wood, for recycling. We want to divert as much wood from disposal as we can to meet that 70% diversion goal by 2015. This depot is definitely helping with that, and we feel that more of this type of recycling will help the Zero Waste Challenge.
I think it's absolutely marvelous. Now I've got a place to dump old wood, and instead of trying to think of ideas how to get rid of it, and you know, most people will probably go to the side of the road and dump it off, but don't have to do it here.
The depot project came about with the Home Depot approaching us. They were looking for a sustainable way for their customers to return wood to retail and have it recycled. They're selling a lot of this wood, and as corporate citizens, they wanted to have a place where residents and do-it-yourselfers can return the wood for recycling.
And I can see that our streets are going to be much cleaner if we have spots like this. If we can come and dump our wood for free, so it's not going to go to waste. I think it's a good idea. I love it.
I think the customers appreciate it a lot. I think they're all environmentally savvy, and they like to pay attention to what's going on with the environment. With all the other recycling programs that are coming about, I think this is a good alternative for customers. And Home Depot knows that when customers are coming in to buy our product, they're more than likely replacing existing products in their houses. So with having it here at the store, it's very convenient for the customers.
At the depot here, what happens is customers come in from the side. The service is free, but we require them to fill in a survey questionnaire for our research. They are then directed to one of the bins where they can drop off their wood and then drive through. The wood collected at this depot gets brought to urban wood waste recyclers. They process the wood, and it is used as hog fuel for one, but also as a mulch product that's used in composting or the landscape industry.
This is fantastic. For us, if we have a small amount, we're not contractors, we're just householders. It's really easy for us just to bring it down here, and we realize we're doing the right thing with it.
The long-term plans for this type of research project, we have quite a bit of data to compile, but I think the results of this study will show that businesses, can work together to meet their sustainability goals. So we have various stakeholders here, and getting them together under a same umbrella of sustainability can be done.
Welcome back to the Sustainable Region. Today, we're rethinking garbage, and look at all of this. As it stands, the manufacturer has no incentive to address this end-of-life stage of packaging, and I have to figure out what to do with each piece. And after that, the taxpayer has to cover the cost of its disposal.
Well, closed-loop packaging is one way to address this. The package is designed to be recycled or reused by the producer. But the question is, how do you get producers to implement this kind of approach?
Metro Vancouver's draft waste management plan touches on that. One proposed strategy is advocating that senior governments transfer additional waste management responsibilities to producers.
Taking ownership of the problem is the first step. In our next story, we meet a group of neighbors who decided to take up the Zero Waste Challenge, seeing just how little waste they could produce.
Well, you couldn't smell it in the hall, but
Oh, that's good.
as soon as I could smell it, I violated the Zero Waste Challenge. Even triple sealed, you can't keep dog crap in the hallway for more than a couple of days.
It's not your typical dinner conversation, but then this isn't a regular picnic. For one thing, when it's over, these people won't pick up their garbage, but it's not because they don't care about the environment. In fact, it's the exact opposite. There won't be any garbage to throw away, because these picnickers took on Metro Vancouver's Zero Waste Challenge.
I'm really hoping that tonight will just kind of be like fun and light, and I want everyone to meet each other, so when you see each other around the streets, you can say, oh, okay, I know you're in this with me, and you can vent about trying to buy stuff to build packaging and all that fun stuff.
Deanna Rogers lives in Vancouver's Strathcona area. 1 month ago, with the help of Metro Vancouver, she and 19 of her neighbors began exploring all the ways they could reduce the amount of waste they generate.
They've agreed to try and put nothing into the landfill for 1 month, so that's what they've decided to do. That is the challenge.
We have way too much garbage.
Deanna worked with Peter Check from Metro Vancouver's Waste Management Division to set up the experiment.
With the population increasing by about 1.2 million people by 2040, even if we're doing what we're doing right now, we're not going to gain any ground. So Metro Vancouver developed a Zero Waste Challenge to identify barriers to the behavior we need around managing waste and then come up with some possible solutions.
This is kind of a snapshot of some of the tools that we'll be providing. You can kind of see a backyard composter there, a green cone and some blue bins.
Hi.
Hi.
This is it, hey?
This is the green cone. And it's just going to go right over here.
One of the tools Deanna introduced the participants to was the green cone. It's an efficient way to deal with food waste that can't be composted.
This is where everything kind of drains out into the soil. Green cone is different from composters because it doesn't actually produce compost. You have to dig a 2-foot hole by a 2-foot hole, and that's the basket where everything kind of falls into. And it uses kind of the sun's heat to help break down with that process, and that allows the temperature to kind of change, and it kind of cycles through, it goes through all the temperature ranges in the day, and so the constant flow of air helps things to break down.
I think that becoming aware of what my behavior is the beginning of the change for this kind of a project, because it's becoming conscious. So okay, now I'm becoming more conscious of, oh right, so that doesn't go in the garbage can. Oh, I can recycle that, okay.
Despite green cones, composters, and blue boxes, the Zero Waste participants were still challenged by the packaging that accompanies so many products.
Packaging is a problem because pretty much everything in our system is in some sort of packaging. So I think that's probably going to be one of the biggest barriers, is how do we learn how to shop without it.
We live about 2 blocks away from a takeout sushi place called Fujiya, And we used to go there all the time, and it has plastic containers and styrofoam and all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of, I think, the hardest thing, is not going there.
To gauge their success, the Zero Waste Challengers have been weighing their garbage once a week. The results show a dramatic change.
We had 55 pounds of garbage from the very first week that I weighed, and then now we're down to 16 pounds between everybody. And so it's averaging about 1 pound of garbage per household.
You know, we're moving, we had parties, a lot of stuff happened in 1 month, and we still managed to have very little waste. So I feel optimistic.
For a family of 4 people, we're down to half of a white kitchen garbage bag a week, and we're not even really hardcore.
Like that.
You can't take on a commitment like this by yourself. To really make it into a lifestyle, you need a community around you that supports you to do it, and systems in your community that support you to do it.
Yeah. So you have no garbage?
So, yeah, I have no garbage.
Zero waste! I realized that for everyone it's different, and so there's a family that has a 1.5-year-old, and their garbage is pretty much diapers now, and so maybe their garbage weighs more than anyone else in the project, but I think that's really impressive and really great that they're just down to just diapers.
We've just done some public consultation around the zero waste framework, and the public supports this. We're shooting for a rate of 70% diversion by 2015. So what that looks like is we have to increase our waste diversion by 12% between now and 2015 in the face of increasing population.
And it feels good to just say, oh, I don't want a bag, I don't need a bag. So I'm enjoying it.
Welcome back to the Sustainable Region and our look at trash recycling and reduction in Metro Vancouver. We all know how important systems are in reducing the types of trash we generate.
Another approach is to foster a certain mindset about trash in the places we generate it, especially at work. Now, shopping centers may not be the first thing that comes to mind when you think about the 3 R's, but Park Royal Shopping Centre is working to change that perception.
Garbage never makes a pretty picture. Waste reduction has become a priority for retailers at Park Royal Shopping Centre, and their innovative methods will help other businesses follow suit.
We feel that, everything that we do has an impact. Some words to really verbalize what we feel here at the shopping center are the word sustainability in action. We have energy efficient lighting in the parking lot. We are huge supporters of community events, and we have a big recycling program here at Park Royal.
A recent Retail BC survey was conducted. Retailers in the environment, a consumer's view. And one of the things that that study found is that consumers expect retailers to do more to protect the environment, and that they're willing to support those businesses that do so.
Science World is another organization embarking on the Zero Waste Challenge, and they found reducing waste depends on accessibility.
I think that it has to be easy for them. I think that they have to connect with why it's important to recycle. I think that people need to understand their trash legacy.
We have a free blue box recycling program, so every tenant gets this blue box.
Different businesses often develop their own routines.
We recycle all our milk jugs, we empty them out and steam them to compact them. It could be anywhere from 10 to 20 milk jugs a day, which are getting kept out of the garbage and being recycled.
Another motivation for business recycling is in the overhead cost savings.
They are paying, at this point, $71 a ton to dispose of garbage in a landfill. By doing more recycling, you don't pay the $71 per ton tipping fee from the landfill, so there should be a reduced cost. A business should recycle because it should save money.
Admin staff at Park Royal knew the Blue Box recycling program was being used. But what about the trash? Were recyclable materials still going to the landfill? In 2008, Metro Vancouver joined with Park Royal to take a closer look at their trash.
We were trying to determine how much recyclable materials were left in the garbage.
The results were quite shocking. We saw any number of things that were thrown out, from a cash register to oodles of paper.
There was lots of plastic bags, which appeared to be like a plastic bag inside a plastic bag.
Park Royal worked with their recycling services company to add soft plastic recycling to the services for mall tenants and customers. Staff at Intercept Men's Clothing use their recycling system regularly.
There's tons of packaging. It's ridiculous. Every single thing that we carry comes in a plastic bag. Fortunately, the mall has just recently started plastic recycling, and we take bags and bags and bags of plastic material to the recycling area every day.
We're currently leaders within the industry, and we want to continue that and continue raising the bar for everybody here at the shopping centre.
Park Royal did raise the bar even further by taking food scraps and coffee grounds out of their trash.
They're not going to go to the landfill, they can actually be composted. So essentially every food outlet and anyone who makes food waste gets 2 bins. One of them would be for coffee grinds, and one of them will be for organic waste.
It was a little tricky, but we're used to it now.
For the food waste, we just collect it all in the green bin just outside our back door. And then at the end of the night, we take the bag full of recyclable waste and we stick it in the bin outside the mall. It's just the same as taking the trash out, so no hassle at all.
Now is the time for people to take action for things. And having bins that are fun and easy, I think that it'll become the norm.
Whether it's a retailer, whether it's a consumer, people are really starting to have that mindset change. And it's because of people like us who are doing these things and allowing these opportunities to come up.
Welcome back to the Sustainable Region, and we're looking at the many ways Metro Vancouver has been working to move beyond the 55% landfill diversion rate that we had in 2007. Since 21% of our waste is food waste, home composting is an excellent way to reduce this. But for those of us who live in apartments or condos, it's not always feasible. Metro Vancouver and other municipalities have just begun a pilot composting program at the curbside, which they intend to roll out across the region. It's estimated that almost half of what we put in the garbage is compostable material. 188,000 tons of food ends up in the landfill every year.
The food scraps that most people now throw away are a resource. Let's not waste that resource. Let's go green. Let's recycle our food waste.
Metro Vancouver staff joined Board Chair Lois Jackson in announcing a project that could change the way Metro residents clean up after dinner.
Almost 3,000 households from Coquitlam, Delta, Langley Township, and West Vancouver can now add food scraps to the yard waste and put them out at the curb. A resource that most people now throw into the garbage will be diverted away from the landfills, and that's really important.
Mayor Greg Moore expects Port Coquitlam residents to embrace the concept. They've already been putting their produce and paper in with their yard waste for a year, so expanding the program to include other food scraps should be an easy transition.
The first phase of the program, which lasted the first year, was pretty much your peels, your lettuce, breads, food scraps like that. Now we're expanding it so that pretty much anything that comes out of the kitchen, from bones and meat and your turkey carcass and but even your pizza box. Pretty much anything that comes out of the kitchen can now go into the green waste. It's really easy to do. Us as a family, we do it. We have a little bin beside the kitchen sink, and after a meal or as we're preparing the meal, we just scrape everything in there. Coffee grinds go in there, and then once a day, it's my daughter's job. She takes the bucket and puts it in the green bin, cleans it out and puts it back beside the sink. And it's just as easy as that.
Some people might worry that putting food scraps in a yard waste bin might attract bears or other wildlife. Moore says that hasn't been the experience in Port Coquitlam.
last year we were the third most number of sightings of bears in British Columbia. So we definitely have bear issues here. We brought in the Bear Aware program. We brought in some bylaws to encourage residents to lock up their garbage bins with a Bear Aware device, to keep their garbage bins inside or in a shed and not put them out until the morning. So in combination with all of these different things, our bear sightings have gone down substantially this year. So the kitchen waste didn't add to it.
Concern about attracting wildlife is just one of many issues that led Metro to hold neighborhood open houses.
That's an egg. Which bucket does the egg go into? No, the food one, yeah.
Educating the public is key to making this project a success. The project is part of Metro's goal to achieve 70% waste diversion by 2015. Public consultations prior to the launch confirmed it's a concept that residents support. Like Alana Osborne, who lives in the demonstration project area in Delta.
We like being part of it and hope that it continues. Makes us more aware of what we put in the garbage, and it doesn't go to the landfill or the down the drain, so it was nice to compost.
The yard and food waste ends up here at Fraser Richmond Soil and Fiber. Operations Manager Dennis Augustine led a recent tour.
This is one of the trial loads, and this is a curbside program, and it's got mixed food waste in with it. So this is the face of what we hope to see a lot of in the coming months.
It only takes 9 weeks to turn kitchen scraps and yard waste into a product that can be sold as is or mixed with sand to sell as topsoil. The demonstration project runs through to the end of March. The idea is to work the bugs out of the system before implementing it region-wide in the fall of 2010.
We are going to be leaving this as a legacy for our children and our grandchildren. We're trying to look after it now because those children and grandchildren at some time are going to look back and they're going to judge us by what we're doing today.
Well, that's our show for today. We know from your letters and emails that you care about your community, the environment, and the planet that we're leaving for future generations.
And we hope that these local methods of waste reduction, reuse, and recycling inspire you in your sustainability efforts, because every step makes a difference.
In short, if you thought this show was a bunch of garbage, well then I think we're on the right track. You can share some story ideas or let us know what you think about today's show by emailing us at sustainableregion@metrovancouver.org.